So to start off with today, this is the tanker I made here, and the new refinery I made also. They're both mobile, and also horizontal cylinders instead of vertical cylinders, which I find to be easier to work with and also more stable on the ground. I'm going to be undocking the tanker and seeing if I can bring it up to orbit, because as you can see, I'm not sure if this is even capable of lifting off in its current condition, and if it is, it's probably going to be a pretty scary takeoff. And of course, to get to Clockwise Station, it needs to be going west. So I'm going to be seeing if I can do that now. But before that, I'm going to be quick saving, obviously. Actually, I think I should fully save right now, just in case. For some reason, these wheels aren't very strong. Either that or they're just carrying a heavy load, and I am not considerate to that. So, this is pointing north right now. I need to be pointing west. I'm going to be doing this slowly and carefully. I'm trying to brake, but it's not working. Accelerating forward and braking helps. I tried to make this less unwieldy than the last model I tried to make, which was a total failure, but I'm not even sure if I succeeded in that. Alright, so here's the plan. Instead of quick saving, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to be taking off like an airplane. Yes. Success. Yeah, this was better than I expected. Look at this. I just hope there's enough fuel on this thing. If there's not, then that's a problem. There. And this kind of horizontal takeoff is actually also probably much more efficient than the vertical takeoffs I usually do. So you see, I'm probably going to spend about half of the fuel getting up, and probably about if I expend half of the fuel getting up and half getting down, then that's not delivering anything. This is supposed to be a delivery craft. But it looks like it's not going to be too much of a problem. Hopefully, at least. If there's not enough fuel on this thing, then I might need to redesign it again, and maybe next time use an array of nuclear thrusters instead of one of these regular ones. Or maybe something even weirder. There. I'm also going to be leveling the orbit at around here by pointing anti-normal. Yeah. That wasn't too much of a problem. Now I'm going to be waiting for periapsis in order to round it. Yeah, this is actually better than I thought it was going to be. Also going to set this as target while we're at it. And now we're going to be firing prograde to bring our periapsis up from inside the planet. There. And now I can adjust for a good approach. But getting a good approach is definitely going to be the problem here. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to do this. Oh, here we go. So watch this. I just need to make a minor course adjustment. There. That's perfect enough for right now. I'm sure I could have done this more efficiently, but I prefer doing it the simple way. Remove the inefficiency of wasting so much brain power on something that should be so simple. And so we're going to be pointing retrograde preemptively for when we do come back to this point. There. Going to be quick saving as well. Turning the lights on. There are no lights, never mind. Now it's just waiting. And here it is, the approach. I'm going to be coming in from behind. And our velocity is much greater than the thing we're trying to dock with right now. So as soon as we get close, we're going to want to cancel that. Where is the station anyway? Is it visible? It's ahead of us. It should be there somewhere. Going to be switching to relative to target. And the approach is getting better. Now we're going to be pointing to the target. There it is. Yeah, this should be simple enough. It looks like we have fuel to spare. And I actually designed this thing to do landings at about, I think, a maximum of 40 meters per second because these wheels are pretty durable. I just need to land on the wheels and make sure that the thruster doesn't get hit by the ground, which sometimes it does, unfortunately. So now we're just going to be slowly and carefully approaching the station. With our fuel we're delivering. And we're going to be decelerating now. Very carefully to make sure it's accurate and precise. There. Under 0.1 meters per second is good enough for now. Going to be setting this to the target. And we're going to be controlling from here for the docking. And so now we can switch to RCS. And bring it in. Just need to get this aligned well first. There, and now if we let this drift like this, it should come into better alignment by itself. minimalizing the amount of fuel we need to spend. We're going to be bringing it in very slowly. Should we use docking mode? I don't think we should. I never use docking mode. There. Oh, that's the best dock I've ever done. And now, see, this tank isn't full, but it will be once we're done with it. Delivery complete. That is one successful delivery of refuel to our station from below. And now, this station can refuel a passing starship with the fuel we brought up from the planet just below. And since this is in such a low orbit, any passing starships will easily have a gravity assist anywhere they want in the orbit, because it's also a pretty circular orbit as well. And we're going to be deactivating both of these engines just to be safe. Like that. And quick saving. And so now this is ready to go back down to the surface to pick up more fuel. Then look at how much fuel it has left to do that with. Yes. It can also do RCS and Xenon here as well. Not very much at a time though, unfortunately. I was afraid that if it was carrying too much of all of those peripheral things that it just wouldn't have enough regular fuel to get back into space. And of course the plan is to do this with every planet in the entire system. And yes, I'm considering the moons to be planets as well. Except for the gas giant, that's going to be kind of a problem to land a refinery on, as well as maybe the star. Also asteroids, I just remembered, are a thing. One thing I want to do is collect a whole bunch of asteroids and blob them up into a sort of a larger moon, and so I can have a moon base around this moon, a moon having its own moon. Surprisingly, pretty frequent in nature, moons having moons. And I'm pretty sure that there are even systems in the real universe that are binary planet systems that both of the planets share a moon. Must be pretty common. And can you imagine a trinary planet system? There probably is one somewhere. But enough about astrophysics. Trying to remember what I was going to do. Oh yes, since this project is done, I'm going to begin work on the next project for the episode. So I decided it would be fun to skip a lot of the things I had planned in order to just quickly send something to somewhere as a surprise, doing things completely out of order. And definitely not in the typical schedule. We're going to try turning it this way this time. I know it takes longer to get through the atmosphere this way, but I think it might give a much more efficient orbit. exit burn. Look at that, that's going to be much easier to circularize and adjust. I should start doing this more often. Yeah, we're going to wait until I get out of the atmosphere before we eject these. Reason being for that is because if we have these attached to us, we actually have more inertia, and it would be harder for the atmosphere to stop us, I think. I'm not sure that would be enough to overcome the drag of these, though. It would be a complex calculation that I couldn't be bothered to do right now, especially not midway through flight. Alright, so now... Yes, we're going to circularize at the apoapsis here, and then we're going to eject out of the Kerbin system, or subsystem, into a different subsystem. Which one is going to remain a surprise. It's going to be difficult to bring it in line with such a small reaction wheel, though. There. I think going up sideways like this saved a lot of fuel. There. And now we can quick save first, and then take a look at where we are. Yes. Look at all these asteroids we can do things with later. Even these ones really close. Look at that one. What did it say its size was? Huge. So, at about here, we're going to want to make our burn. I don't think we're going to bother refueling at the station either. Yeah, that's for later. That's only for the spacecraft that are designed to be reusable, which this is not. It's just a thing that we do once and then forget about. Eventually I will be sending up permanently reusable ships, though. But that won't really be feasible until I get more galactic infrastructure set up. We need a lot more gas stations. I hope the moon doesn't intercept us. Well, if it does, we might be able to actually use that for a secondary gravity assist, but I doubt it would be helpful. Oh good, it looks like we're going to miss it perfectly. And we're going to stop the burn right there. Is that close enough? Looks almost perfect to me. So now we're going to wait until we get to apoapsis. Saving. And waiting. Actually, I discovered something that should have been obvious to begin with. Having the apprehension point be an apoapsis instead of a periapsis makes your orbit much faster, and thus makes it so you don't need to wait nearly as long to get to your target, because if you adjust it correctly, you will be at the target as soon as it comes to the point that it's supposed to, so as soon as possible. Another thing you could do that I don't recommend is matching the orbit of your target, but going the other way around, so that you're guaranteed to approach it more quickly. But that's the problem, you're going to approach it much more quickly. And so now, you're going to be burning prograde, I think. Or would retrograde be better for this? If we did retrograde, we would be here sooner to be able to apprehend the planet. Yeah, we'll actually just see the predictions as we adjust. A kind of experiment. It's not as if we have very much to lose. We have plenty of fuel. Yeah, that's pushing it further apart. We want it closer together. Oh, the one irritating thing is waiting for this to turn. But other than that, we're fine. Any day now. It's going to be pointed in the right direction. The gimbal of that thruster looks really angry for some reason. Yeah, so now they should work better. I just hope we don't get intercepted along here by any other planets, is what I was worried about before. Yeah, that's the problem with your course intersecting so many other planets' courses. Anything could happen. What's this? The prediction is unhappy. Mysterious. Going to keep going anyway. It looks like we had it and lost it. It's just that the predictions are completely broken right now. So we're going to need to guess how it's going to work and how close we're going to get. Which shouldn't be too difficult. This navigation computer is cheap garbage. You see, that's why you buy the good, expensive navigation computer and not the discount one, because it's better to be slightly poorer than to have this problem. I think we might actually be able to deduce some things here that might help us calculate. such as if we had the orbital period, we could do a lot with that information. I think it's in here. Yeah, the orbital period is 1 year, 33 days, 0 hours to 11 minutes, but the first two numbers are the most important to us. We're going to focus view here and check its orbital period, which is... Here it is. No wait, that's rotational period, not orbital period. Where is that information? If we know its mass and its distance from the sun, then we could probably deduce its speed and its orbital period using some math, but I would prefer not to, for obvious reasons. And I don't exactly know how to reset my view to my craft, so I guess it's just going to be stuck on Duna for now. Unless I could switch away from it and then switch back to it. I'm just going to switch to the tracking station and then quickly switch back. That shouldn't pose any problems. That way it's fully reset. There, now it's fixed. And now we're going to just quick save, and then we're going to fast forward into the future to see how close our approach is. Solution. So, since we now can see our approach, we can correct it because we can see that it's off. Yeah, just like that. And we want a good approach. So let's see. If we burn radial out, it should bring us even closer than this. That is, if we even need to be closer than this. And also, the inclination shouldn't be too much of a problem either. But let's see what this does. Yeah, look at that. Even closer. There. Look how close that is. Here. And so now that we have a precise entry window that's very close to the planet, we can quick save and wait for it. And we only have two other two other planets that are in our path that could interfere, but they probably won't, because the planets can only be in one place at a time. And so the likelihood of them being in our path is, in this case, 1 in 1,000. But it can still happen. In fact, these sorts of intersections are the best ones. These ones where they linger in each other's paths for a long time are the most dangerous. So this is more of a problem than that. The only thing that makes interplanetary travel a pain is the shortcomings of time warp. First of all, the maximum time warp is too slow, and second of all, you should be able to time warp while thrusting, because sometimes some burns, like with ion engines, take eons, and and waiting for that to be completed is torture. Here it comes. And now we need to be ready to burn retrograde according to Duna. Fortunately, it looks like we have plenty of time. And we just want to burn until we're not going by it so fast. And then, after that, I'm going to wait until we're at periapsis to finish the reorder. And then after that, we can do some adjustments to get into the correct orbit, get positioned, and then start aiming for our target, which I have yet to elaborate on. Right now our orbit is pretty eccentric, so that's going to need to be fixed. We definitely don't want a polar orbit in this case. There, that should be enough for right now. And then we can wait until periapsis, which should be simple. And that's when we're going to be going the fastest. There. And now I can just quickly finish depleting our excess kinetic energy. Trying to think of the best way to do this. Especially on such limited fuel. So... yes, I think I see how I can do this. I'm going to wait until about here first. We need to fix this broken orbit. And now I think normal or anti-normal would fix the inclination. In this case it should be normal. Inclination from this point. Then we can fix it from the other 2 points. Normal needs to be pointing north, like that. And now from apoapsis, actually now from about, there, we can fix it the rest of the way. Too far. but close enough for right now. Not normal this time, anti-normal. I need to always keep normal pointing north and anti-normal pointing south. Now south is this 180 degrees marker here. There, and now we can fix it the rest of the way for real this time. Right here, by I think normal. There. Now it's flat enough. And that didn't even take very much fuel. And now we can adjust apoapsis. Just at apoapsis, the periapsis, to bring it to where we want it to be. And so after this, we should be most of the way done. Yes, perfect. Oh, look at that. There's actually a view for visualizing things. I never noticed that there before. But this should be the most efficient entry possible. And you may be thinking we're going to be using this to land on Duna, but no. We're going to be using this to land on Ike. Even though this would be the perfect entry for Duna from using Ike as sort of a fulcrum. Now this time I think it would be more fun to just land on the day side. And orbit appears to be surprisingly still very circular. The funny thing is, it's easier to land on other planets' moons before the planets themselves. Sort of going backwards from the normal way of getting out of the Kerbin system. So thinking of it as like a ladder, and each moon is a rung on the ladder, and the planet is the bottom. Only the tops of all the ladders are connected, instead of the bottoms of all the ladders. And now we can just directly land wherever we want. Using a special lander that I built just for this. I'm not sure what the best way of doing this would be. Canceling velocity up here and then landing vertically, or landing horizontally. There. Vector is adjusted as such that, yeah, we are headed directly down. Oh, not according to the surface. We need to adjust for surface, not the orbit. There. How does that actually look on the orbital map? Like that? Yeah. And now to just wait. And I think we can just eject this now. And go away from it. Gears. And make a soft landing. I don't remember how much these gears are rated for, but I think a 100 meter per second landing would not be ideal. I don't like this slope we're landing on though. There. Look at that. This is stupid. Yeah, I think we can just lift back up and then go over there instead, because that's a valley. And this is a lot more unwieldy than I thought it would be, being so powerful. Almost too powerful. Actually, exactly too powerful. There. Vertical again. Oh, perfect. Now this slope is good enough for right now. And now I can just deploy the solar panels and turn on the lights. And this is the first lander on Ike. In fact, the first lander in the whole Tuna subsystem. And that's actually the only purpose of this, is to be the first thing to land in this entire thing here, and also this planet here. Of course, the reason I did this ahead of schedule is because I didn't want to put off landing until after I scanned every celestial body in this part of the system, and then sent down harvesters for refineries, and then stations, and then everything. Setting up all that infrastructure would take a lot of time,